My name is Tony Berzinas. I'm the president of the board of the Bethel Island Municipal Improvement District. We are a special district that is also in charge of reclamation. This particular barrier has a threefold impact on our island. The first and the largest is a safety impact because of the increased flows that will be taking place to the north of us on what's called a slough, Fisherman's Cut, which is a straight shot slough. When this barrier is in place, the Department of Water Resources has estimated the increase of flows there to be at least 5 times what they currently are. That particular slough slams right straight into the weakest part of our levee, as identified by both D.W.R and Bethel Island, called Horseshoe Bend. It is already a scoured portion of the levee, and it's very weak. We have 2,500 plus residents permanently residing on Bethel Island, plus it grows in a good summertime recreation population to about 6,000. If we lose that portion of the levee, we lose the island. The salinity barrier put in place to prevent saltwater incursion will be null and void if that should take place. On top of that, it also pushes back pressure on the San Joaquin and forces water down a slough called Dutch Slough, which you had to drive over to get onto Jersey Island. That parallels False River. Well, it's also going to increase the flows up Dutch Slough. They haven't even estimated those increases. That's also going to cause scouring and eddy problems along Dutch Slough. On top of all of those problems, if those weren't enough, the Water Resources estimated the water levels around all our islands behind the barrier to increase anywhere from 20 to 40%, which means that all year long our levees are going to be super saturated, which we count on the dry periods for them to dry out, for us to be able to do observation for repairs and do actual maintenance activities. Those will be minimized, if not eliminated. So now we've got a threefold health and safety problem that could impact life, health, and safety on our island. Now let's go to the real one that is about everybody's concern, because everybody's concerned about the money. Well, the economy on our island relies on the river traffic down False River to come into our northern economic areas of the Rusty Porthole, Bethel Harbor, Sugar Barge, and all the other inlets, harbors, and fishing outlets along that island. Putting this barrier in place, forcing them down the San Joaquin, is analogous to putting the interstate highways around Route 66. Every small burg on Route 66 crumbled up and died because of that economic diversion. The same thing's going to happen to our island, and we're at a fragile point already. So we don't just have health, life, and safety. We don't have physical levee infrastructure problems. We've also got business economic problems that are directly associated with the livelihood of almost everybody on our island in one way or the other.
Say I'm a boater in San Francisco. I want to come to the Delta. Now, how do I, what's my route now? What do you recommend? Maybe it's different than what the D.W.R. recommends.
Well, the river's sort of the river, so you've only got so many waterways. The area coming through Big Break and Dutch Slough has never been a path of traffic for boat. It's more of an estuary area with any crossovers or low slung. This False River used to be the main highway coming to Bethel Island all the way down to Discovery Bay. Now what you're going to have to do is go all the way around it, which is about 8 to 10 mile diversion down to San Joaquin. And you're probably not going to make the choice to come down the narrow inlet of Fisherman's Cut. You're going to make the choice to stay out on the San Joaquin and go north up by the McCullamy River, Andreas Island, which has Brandon Island Road and things like that. So there will still be places for you to go from San Francisco. The issue from my perspective is where I live and the livelihood of our folks. You're basically going to be pushed away from us to a degree where we won't even exist. And so from San Francisco, you're still going to have choices. There are going to be less choices, maybe less color and flavor because we're more the sawdust type bars. But you'll still have choices, but you won't have all the choices you had before, and you'll be pushed away from some of the best fishing in the entire Delta. And we don't even know what impact that's going to have because they haven't measured that yet.
Are they doing anything to Frank's Tract itself?
They talked about, I've heard the Army Corps of Engineers has some plans for Little Frank's Tract, but for Frank's Tract itself, my understanding is this is hopefully going to keep some salinity push out of Frank's Tract. the large Frank's Track fishing area. Little Frank's Track is still open. I don't know if they're going to try to reclaim that with some of the spoils that they're going to get out of this area or not. I haven't seen the plans on that. But for the large area of Frank's Track, you got to understand there's two Frank's Track. One's Little Frank's Track, which is directly behind you, and then the larger Frank's Track, which is more east, northeast of you. Northeast, they don't plan to do anything. They had planned some gates in years past, but those are out of the question now.
If I'm a boater coming from Stockton, what is your recommendation?
Recommendation is to, first of all, read all your charts and such. You may have some easier times coming down the Sacramento, but remember, once you get back into False River and Old River and things like that, you're going to have to remember that this barrier is in place. One of the big things that I think will happen is you will have some folks that are slightly careless, that are used to this, it hasn't been in years past, and come storming up this False River, and they're going to be ornaments on that dike that they're putting in right now. But I would say be very careful of where you're going, because the currents, the flows, and everything are going to change. What you're used to before back in these backwater pathways will change because of tidal flows, eddies, and levels. So just be cautious. Go to your NOAA charts, go to the Coast Guard information bulletins. Make sure you're completely aware of your surroundings, which you should do no matter what.